Hello! We have one longer story today in 2 parts of a mother-in-law gone wild, but it's not nearly as fun as that might sound. After some unwanted parenting advice gets ignored, one mother-in-law can't handle it and loses it. Her head starts spinning so fast you'll forget all about going wild and scramble to call for an exorcist. Story 1. I really can't believe it, but my mother-in-law claims my partner and I, mid-30s, are abusing our baby, 6 months old, since he complains while on his tummy. Our doctor said he needs more tummy time for his flat spot, to strengthen his muscles, as well as to help him roll over. He doesn't like tummy time, but it's not like he even gets to the point of crying. He just makes uncomfortable noises. We tried explaining this to mother-in-law, but she keeps claiming we are forcing the baby and abusing him. Mother-in-law has been living with us the last few months, and things have gone great until this happened. 2 days ago, she snatched the baby from me during tummy time and said I am committing violence against him. I regretted letting her take him, but let her. Then yesterday, she tried the same thing and I refused to give her my baby. The thing is, I wasn't even doing tummy time. The baby complains when he isn't doing something. He just constantly gets bored. Mother-in-law heard him complaining from another room and comes barging in saying I'm abusing him again. I walked away from her and locked the door behind me. She pounded on the door saying she will call the cops, and she did. I called my partner, who left work immediately and drove home. 2 policemen talked to her and then us. I invited them in and said they could walk around. They looked around and saw an immaculately clean place and a very happy baby. Mother-in-law had not been cleaning up in the past couple days or helping with anything like she did in the past. This makes me think this was premeditated to try and make us look bad, but I had been cleaning behind her. Mother-in-law tried telling the cops that we were dirty because the dirty bottles and snot sucker were in the same place. Also, that we pet the dog, then hold the baby. And that we do tummy time where the cat lays on the couch. The horror. When she told them that tummy time hurts the baby, they just said, "I'm not a professional doctor." The police couldn't contain their laughter, saying it sounds like mother-in-law thinks she is the resident expert, and that they run into mothers who disagree with parenting styles a lot. I, unfortunately, couldn't laugh along because I was in tears explaining the situation, but it was obvious the police were on our side. The police told us the clean house does not look like an unsafe environment for the baby. They also informed us that at this point, they were just there for a venting session with mother-in-law and not to worry. Of course, no police report was filed. My partner had my back the whole time and kicked mother-in-law out of our house. She had a couple hours to pack her bags, and then I drove her to a motel. She, of course, was mad, but had no remorse and thinks she did nothing wrong. She doesn't have much money, so my partner and I are paying for it. We got her a flight home tomorrow. I'm not sure what will happen in the future, but it might be the last time mother-in-law sees her grandchild. Mother-in-law has no idea and thinks it's her baby too. Lucky mother-in-law and father-in-law live on the other side of the country. Here's to hoping they never move here. Relevant comments as organized by reposter user Lucy Aria Rose. I was trying to keep the post brief for the sake of talking about the major situation. So mother-in-law has made comments, but my partner has shut her down. Like, she didn't like that his pediatrician is young. She doesn't trust doctors. She doesn't trust the skin treatment method the pediatrician chose for a rash. She doesn't like that we don't give him water. But my partner just shuts her down immediately. Many things were just building up since she never got her way and then it all came out. But I wouldn't say there were any arguments. It was more just little comments she made. Edit. She also hated the white noise machine and even told the police about it. The officer stayed professional, but you could tell he was holding back laughing. About partner and all of this, why they didn't drive. My partner said things would have gotten heated between them, so I drove. To be honest, I didn't even think about an Uber, not sure why. It was an awkward ride. I recorded the entire ride because I didn't want her to lie about anything. I hope so. Honestly, my partner is more stubborn than me, so I don't think we will see mother-in-law again. Wowza! This is definitely an extreme example of an overbearing mother-in-law. Someone needs to tell her that she is not the mother. It's kinda sad, but that's not the surprising part since there are many a mother-in-law that want to relive motherhood by educating others on the best approach to raising children. But this woman actually called the cops. What did she expect? That the police would hand over the little one to her? I'm I'm not sure I'd be paying for that hotel room. Might sound a bit harsh, but goodness me. Our second story is the update, and surprise, surprise, it wasn't the last time they would see mother-in-law dearest. In fact, it wasn't even a full hour. Just kidding, nobody was surprised. Least of all me or you. Story 2. An hour or so after I dropped mother-in-law off at the motel, both my partner and I got texts from father-in-law, and I quote, "You can't leave my wife in a hotel. I demand you take her back to your house and work out any problems or misunderstandings. If something happens to her, you are responsible." And then later he argued that we didn't explain tummy time well enough to her and said, "You guys are not geniuses and need to be empathetic." My partner immediately blocked him, but I didn't know until we discussed it later. I tried reasoning with father-in-law but realized it wasn't happening, so I blocked him too. The next day, the motel said I can't pay by phone, so I had to drive to the motel to pay for one more night. This was Saturday, and mother-in-law's flight was Sunday. I also decided to bring mother-in-law some snacks. She requested water, but I decided some snacks too. Listen, y'all, I don't know why. It was a bad area of town, and I thought her walking to the gas station could be dangerous. But if it makes you feel better, while she was living with us, she bought some frozen taquitos that she told me I could eat because she didn't like them. They really weren't good, had some unidentifiable ground chicken. Also, the Wednesday of that week, mother-in-law and I had bought good chicken taquitos from Costco. Anyways, to be petty, I put the one she didn't like in the snack package for her. When I dropped off the care package, mother-in-law pleaded that she wasn't really going to call Child Protective Services. I forgot to add in the original she did threaten this. She didn't offer an apology but wanted me to tell my partner that she wasn't really going to call CPS. I said, all right, and left. Mother-in-law then called my partner and I thought was going to apologize, but didn't. Instead, mother-in-law started guilt-tripping. She was saying she thought she wasn't treated well at our wedding a couple of years ago, somehow didn't mention it until now, and other random things. My partner hung up on her. A lot of people asked why I didn't get an Uber for mother-in-law, and I'm not sure. I think I was getting more and more upset on the inside because I started envisioning myself telling mother-in-law off once and for all. So, started to plan to speak my mind on the way to the airport. At this point, it was clear that mother-in-law would never apologize. Not that I would let her see my baby again anyway. I just wanted to see if she would apologize. Note, I think I had forgotten to mention that earlier that week, mother-in-law told my partner that us forcing tummy time was equal to how father-in-law abused her and her children. That really ticked off my partner, who had to witness the violence of father-in-law growing up, and says that mother-in-law did nothing then. I'm not saying the abuse is mother-in-law's fault, but my partner says it's hypocritical and messed up of mother-in-law to make the comparison of us and our baby. So Sunday came. I picked mother-in-law up and took her to the airport. On the way, I asked her if she was planning on apologizing. She said, to who? I said both of us. She then started saying how we didn't explain tummy time well enough and that it's our fault. So then I decided to say what I had planned. I said that this whole situation was her fault, that she put us in danger by calling the police, and that threatening to call CPS ensured she would never see her grandchild again. I told her she is not welcome in our house in the future, and if I see her again anywhere near our house, then I would call the police for trespassing. I also told her she was a bad person, which I kinda regret. Mother-in-law had tears in her eyes. I was shaking and hastily dropped her bags off for her. As I started driving away, I heard a tap on the glass. I nearly drove away with one of her bags in the back seat. So as she picked up her last bag, I called out again that she would never see her grandchild again and drove away angrily. So she is presumably back with father-in-law on the other side of the country. I really can't say I feel better. The rest of the day I felt just sad in general, and I'm not sure why. I haven't felt like cooking even though I cook most days, so we ordered Chinese. It's been a couple days now and I'm feeling slightly better. I've just been replaying the car conversation and wishing I said even more by shaming her for guilt-tripping my partner so much. I've gotten my neighbors to help with the baby, and my partner and I found a new restaurant to try. Anyways, I did speak with my partner and we agreed both mother-in-law and father-in-law are blocked. So they are both officially blocked on Facebook too, which is the only social media they use. We haven't heard from them, but it has only been a couple days. They probably think we are overreacting and that we will come around, but I don't think we will. My partner's brother is getting married in September, so we might have to see mother-in-law and father-in-law there. Thanks for all the support. I liked responding to y'all's comments, and it feels good to be validated in my decisions. Many people say they would not have bought the hotel and plane ride for her, but I think mother-in-law is on food stamps and quite poor. Also, she did give us childcare a few days a week for 3 months, so I am thankful for that. She saved us quite a lot of money. Lastly, she was technically a tenant, so she didn't have to leave even though it is our house. I don't know the exact tenant laws, but they vary by state here in the US. I think we did the right thing to pay for the hotel and flight, but still think it's funny I gave her the taquitos. Relevant comments. When asked what mother-in-law's goal was with calling authorities, I can't understand her end goal here. I think when I closed the door and locked it behind her, she saw red and called the cops. I don't think she was trying to take the kid. Luckily, it is hard to get grandparent visitation rights in my state. Mother-in-law absolutely cannot afford a lawyer, does not even live close to this state, does not speak English, we speak in Spanish. When asked if language was an issue and why they had to explain thoroughly, you were the first person to guess that. I wasn't sure if it was relevant, but I speak to mother-in-law in Spanish. My Spanish is decent, but things do get lost in translation. Mother-in-law is from Mexico and father-in-law is from Guatemala. My partner is perfectly fluent. Oh my gosh, talk about hypocrisy at its finest. The father-in-law is telling them to be empathetic? Seriously? What the heck? These in-laws are a bit out to lunch, and not for taquitos. Of course babies get squirmy and make noises. They can't talk. That's the real language barrier here. I'm not sure I've ever heard baby noises described as complaining, and I don't mean that in a judgy way. But OP herself notes that sometimes it was just discomfort. Pretty sure most babies are rocking the Goldilocks vibes. This is too hot. This is too cold. This is too hard. This is too soft. And it all comes out as... Speaking of fairy tales, the real hero here is the husband. Talk about Prince Charming standing by his partner. Definitely a happily ever after. And that's it for today. Until next time, shine bright, starlight. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.